Welcome to Spotlight Gulf Coast, a weekly showcase of people and events across South Mississippi. Spotlight Gulf Coast is partnered with William Carey University and sponsored by the IP Casino Resort and Spa, Mississippi Power Company, Ray Brandt Auto Group, and the Butch Ostelet Foundation.
Hi everyone, this is Todd Trenchard, Executive Director of the Baco Foundation of South Mississippi, welcoming you to another segment of Spotlight Gulf Coast right here on WXXV. Each week we're coming into your living room talking about what's going on all across South Mississippi, and we want to thank our sponsors for this generous opportunity. Today we're joined, of course, by Amanda Ray, and welcome, Amanda.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
And, of course, Phillip Pogue, our chairman of the board. Phillip, appreciate you coming over. And
thanks for having me.
Today I want to cover a wider, I guess, assortment of subjects. It's a good time to, our fiscal year ends today. And so you can look back on, the year according to that, or, at the first of the year when it comes January. But good stopping point. We were talking about Renaissance, I think, last week with, Michael came on the show, and what a great ending to a very successful year. But you've been on the board, what now?
12 years.
12 years, been that long.
It
Lord
has.
have mercy.
I know, time flies.
Yeah, remember when I met you a long, long time ago, driving into that parking lot, worked at the bank, and, I immediately, we became friends, got you involved in the community, started coming to Rotary, and, from there, it's sort of become just family. But, I would look back at this past year as being the most successful year we've had. Certainly with our events are going to another level.
By far. Seen so many good things come from it. And a lot of money for the community and our children. So. And,
Amanda, coming on, we added a lot of, what do we call them, micro events. Which was an intentional strategy to get the board more engaged. We did them geographically, but we've had quite a few events. If you look at over the last 12 months, it's almost been a nonstop. We had to put a stop on it.
We did. After Renaissance, it was like, no more. But it's been fantastic. I mean, like you said, all the micro events that we had in Gulfport, Pascagoula, Ocean Springs, they were just fantastic. These smaller events that raise funds for that geographical location for scholarships, as well as, of course, the Jolly, which is that 2-day crazy event, and I really felt accomplished. I knew I could make it with the foundation whenever I made it through the Jolly with you guys, because it does wear on you. I mean, it's a lot. It's nonstop.
The Jolly is really 2 events.
Right.
It really is.
2 events in one.
Back to back.
That's what I'm looking forward to this year. It's actually going to be separated.
Right.
To where, and that
I'm excited about that.
Yeah. It give you a little time, and it's not so much you have to focus on. Even 2 weeks apart, can really make a world of difference, when you get tired. But, I think that's an important part that, having these micro events, which we talked about a year plus ago, and we funded, scholarships in Gulfport, Ocean Springs, Pascagoula for next year.
Right.
And so we're ahead of the game, and that's the way you want to be. If something were to come up, God forbid, another COVID or something, the community doesn't have to suffer if you're forward thinking like that. And then to have, these super events that you put on where you bring your people together, it almost sets the stage for the next year, because that's your relationships that you're going to go after next year.
Right.
So
the micro events also brought people out that wouldn't normally come to our events. So not only did it bring money and stuff, but it brought awareness to what we do and how we really help. Yeah. And so that was one of the key things that I saw from the micro events is.
Oh yeah.
I think the other big change this year, you can think about it, having 2 big themed events. We had Candyland, like you were joking before. I had no idea what Candyland was. I had to look that up. Barbie, I definitely didn't know what that one was about, but I guess I figured out later it was about pink. And,
all things girly and pink, and just the retro nostalgic love of Barbie. I mean, everybody loves Barbie.
And that's where you got to, with events nowadays, you have to think out of the box for how people can get involved and have fun with it. And people really do take our events like to another level of, and I'm sure, Stacy probably orders your stuff 6 weeks in advance, or y'all are thinking
Oh, yeah,
about
I'm
what
already
y'all going to
thinking.
wear. I can remember many a Renaissance where I just threw on a jacket,
Threw on something.
walked on the stage. And I think the second or third year I got a pink tie just so I'd fit in. But yeah, they both those events, you know, for one organization to have two super events at that level, certainly I'm not familiar with it. But we are blessed that, you know, we got a great team of volunteers and, you know, board members that step up sometimes in the clutch, but the cavalry's coming eventually.
Right.
And, you know, I want to thank you again, Amanda, for all the efforts you put forth. You know, when you first started this, big difference between last year's Renaissance and this one.
Huge difference. I was still, you know, I was just getting my feet wet, kind of learning how everything works, learning the ropes, just trying to absorb everything from you. I mean, Todd's on a whole nother level. We all know that. So
yeah, but you get used to it, and you know at the end of the day, I'd ask you trick questions all the time. You know, how do you feel?
Right.
You know, I already know it's done.
Right. I would ask him, are you sure I'm not missing anything? Am I missing something? So I think next year is going to even be better, honestly. I really felt like this year I tried to learn from you, use you, you know, as my greatest mentor, only for next year to see what we can do as well and make things better and bigger. So
you get comfortable, I think, with the team around you.
You do.
And you know that they're going to, you know, they may not be there 3 days early, but you know they're coming.
Right, exactly.
So that's important. But, you know, Phillip, in the next segment, I do want to talk a little bit about our board. You know, our board is large, it's diverse, you know, geographically diverse, and, you know, that can be challenging or it can be an opportunity.
Right. We have some real power players on our board and some people that really make things happen. I mean, oh my gosh, there's just some of them that just, it amazes me what they do and things that they are able to get for us. And I do have to give Amanda a plug about Renaissance, where it has come from in the beginning to now. It's truly a fashion statement. All these upscale boutiques and everything. It was amazing this year. The models were all so beautiful and everything. That was great.
I was dressed in something from Italy or something.
That's right.
I couldn't even pronounce the name.
I know.
And but that
was fantastic.
Yeah,
it was fantastic.
It really is a great event, and could be spurring on thoughts of another type of event. We're talking about kids, older people. I mean, you
People
can come
love
up.
getting their children involved. So
You
why
could just
not?
have
Those kids were amazing.
Yes, weren't they precious?
Oh, they were amazing.
The parents were all
guys that
about
come
it.
out.
Personality that
Yes.
came out.
Yeah. Our
Well-
minds have not stopped since
Yep.
Renaissance, just what we could do. So.
Next year, you just set the stage for next year.
That's right. Barbie 2 next year.
Right.
You know, so. All right, we're going to take a short commercial break. We're going to come back. We want to talk a little bit more about our board, talk about Trident and Neptune, because, you know, again, we just started doing some things together and partnering, but what an opportunity that is. I know I'm excited about that. So y'all don't touch that remote. We're going to be right back. Welcome back, everyone. We're talking with Phillip Pogue, our chairman of the board, of course, with Amanda Ray and Phillip. We started getting into the board of directors. Our board, 19 people on it, plus Jason, plus, you know, people that serve on advisory capacity. You know, when we first went into the Gulfport market, you know, it sounds easy. It's not. It's a big geographical area, and so you have to make some adaptations. You're not going to do everything right, but you start seeing it work the kinks out. Our donor base has expanded, you know, exponentially across the coast by finding certain people that'll get involved. And I think that, you know, when you've got a team that's put together and can think like that, you don't have to be so reactionary and putting out this, and this. And, you know, that's really where, you know, I think the future, it's going to be easier and easier to do. Because you know what your capabilities are. Don't expand yourself too much, but you can't have fundraisers every weekend. Oh, you need to do that. Well, it never stops. I mean, to put on an event like these, you know, sometimes you're thinking next year. I was meeting yesterday with them at IP about next year's events,
Right.
you know, that are a year off. You know, so it's not just these things happen. by accident. We've all been to events where they're not as thought out.
Right.
But, I think we do a tremendous job, and I think that, we do have a great board that steps up.
Absolutely. What we were talking about a while ago, the Jolly is really 2 events back to back, and it takes a year to plan for that.
Gosh.
And the way that it's been executed is almost flawless. And to watch, and you go to other events and see people where they didn't put as much time and effort into it, not have the same kind of outcome, but it's amazing. And Renaissance this year, unbelievable.
Yeah, and I think you learn that you take it into the golf a few years ago, we let the Duchess Club have more of ownership for the night before.
Right.
Instead of trying to micromanage the night before and the thing out there. And then you knew Kevin had out at Shell, and you could sit there, step back, and look at the whole picture. That's the hardest thing for, I know myself to do, because I want to get in the middle of everything.
Right.
But that actually is your blind spot once you get in there. So you step back and, just sort of do this number. And so I've learned a lot about delegating, learned a lot about trusting. First few years, how do you do everything? Because I don't trust
anybody.
But then when you get those aces in their places, you do start trusting. And you couldn't have a better team. I mean, there's, people talk about, oh, you're lucky to have your board. Well, that didn't just happen.
Right.
When you're watching other boards and who's doing stuff, and you ask them to be a part of you.
Right.
And I think that, and it may feel like you're herding cats sometimes, but collectively, I mean, who else has a board like us? I don't know of anybody.
Right.
And their time's very important.
Absolutely. And people on our board have also enabled us to partner with other organizations to help. The Duchess ladies they're invaluable.
Yeah, they are. And, we were talking about Trident. Trident, maybe people don't know what Neptune and Trident is. Why don't you, let everybody know?
Well, of course, Neptune is probably the greatest Mardi Gras organization on the coast.
Whoa! Gulf Coast is going, whoa!
And I am biased, so I'm line 8. So, but the Trident Foundation is the nonprofit organization that helps Neptune put money back into the community and help. And they've been a great asset for us this year, partnering with us on a couple of events and providing silent auction items and people to help.
Yeah, manpower, and we in turn, you and I both serve on the board of directors, and you spoke up first, so you're the vice chair, and I get to sit there as hope I'm at large.
Yeah, well, it's such an exciting group of people. I wanted to be part of that too, so I look forward to helping them, and got some great ideas that I think we'll see come to fruition soon.
Right, and they have such a large organization that talk about just takes a little from each one. I mean, an organization of that size can really move the needle.
Right, absolutely.
It's a massive organization, and the Duchess girls do that. I mean, I think y'all about to hit the doll and toy.
Right, we're just now starting doll and toy drive. The Christmas trees are going up at all the locations in Ocean Springs, and we're collecting gifts. So there's several locations: YMCA, Eat Drink Love. Let's see, the Ocean Springs Yacht Club. There's so many different locations. So we're just now starting that process, and we'll wrap that up towards the end of the year and get those toys distributed to the children. So
yeah, and they really work the whole year for that.
Oh, just for that.
They do a fantastic job. I've watched that grow from something small and
we even a silent auction too that we had at the Jolly. It's amazing. All the nonprofits that we have involved, and Duchess mans that whole project and helps us out. I'm a foundation member, but also a Duchess member, so I'm kind of dual places all over the place. But it's key to have those board members and those other organizations helping us at those events. I mean, I'm thinking about Donnie and the Trident guys helping at the Jolly, the golf tournament, and the auction. I mean, we couldn't do the things that we do without that kind of help. A staff of 3.
And it's, like I said, you find those groups that are going to help and, stick with them. And we in turn try to, assist them with any way that we can. And just being on that board, I know is helping them. They said today, well, you're not talking, well, I'm having to absorb all this. I mean,
And the Trident Foundation is going to do something unique for the toy drive this year also.
Yep. We were talking about how we wanted to do a toy drive or maybe adopt 5 families
Right.
for a Christmas that really need it.
Right.
And I think y'all do that also.
We
if
do
y'all
that as
find
well.
A sandwich.
We're going to provide a meal for the Christmas meal for the families and
That'll be
some
wonderful.
items for a family in need. You know, that's what it's about.
Right, of course.
Now, that'll be, I guess, the next thing that's coming up. Of course, we're going into the holiday season, but it's not the holiday season. We're actively out there trying to, stay connected to our donors to make sure. Not only do we want you to keep us in your budget, we want to know what you think we can do better. And that's very important that they think that they have, ownership of this. It's their, foundation too, and, the things that they're doing. And we're going to change some things up. It doesn't have to be a one team in a golf tournament, one team at Renaissance. If you're going to be making a donation of $5,000 or $10,000, what do you want?
Right, exactly.
I mean, that should be the question, not tell you what you're going to do with it. So, and we're blessed to have some of those bigger donors, and and then you just got to put your team together and sort of get a yearly plan to where you can fit it all together. So, we're going to take a short commercial break. We're going to do a little bit of a switcheroo here. We're going to be right back.
Welcome back, everyone. I'll be your host, Amanda Ray, Community Relations Director of the Baco Foundation of South Mississippi. I'm so excited to be on this side of the camera. Look what we have over here. We have Mr. Todd Trenchard and Phillip Pogue. A little bit of a different spot.
First
on the
time
TV
in
show.
18 years
Really?
that I've sat over on this side.
That
And
long.
it is, like you said, a better view
Your view's a
this
lot
way
better.
than me looking at you
thank
guys. So have at it.
Have at it. Well, we've been talking about this year as a whole, what a fantastic year we had, of course, with the foundation, all of our events. We're wrapping up the end of the year. What are some things that you guys hope for next year, the future of Baco, as we're reaching out to our donors and sponsors, trying to get in the budget, looking for new potential donors for next year? What do you think the biggest need is for next year?
I think our corporate sponsorship. I'll tell you, right now is the time you need to get it on the books for your company, get it in your budget for next year. For us, Mrs. Brandt was gracious enough to be a presenting sponsor this year for the Renaissance. And, it was great that the company was able to give that money and get that. But also, we got a lot of publicity for the auto group by the Ray and Jessica Brandt Foundation being a presenting sponsor. It brought a lot of awareness to us, and people talked a lot about it. So, selfishly speaking, that was a good thing for us.
Absolutely.
Other people are going to be looking for that kind of exposure next year.
Yeah, and again, you've been a diamond or whatever we've called it along the way since I've known you, and it benefits not only the community, but it also has helped you build relationships. With people that bought cars. I drove Cadillacs for, 10 years that I got from the same dealership. And any place you've gone, I've sort of followed, as has Jason, and you start seeing that. You build your community around that. And that's what's so good about South Mississippi. But there's always room for more. There's always room for, bigger and better, thought processes. And I think we've gotten to the point where by the time we announce events, we're sold out.
They're sold out before,
So
which is amazing.
Yeah, we've got to think of something, and we will. But it does add tremendous value. I don't think any of those people that were at this past year's Renaissance or Jolly wouldn't say, we're giving you value.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's not you're just writing a check. I mean, it's
it really is a business tool. We've talked about that before, not only modeling, but the sponsorship opportunities, the people that you get to meet, the engagement of those models backstage. You're meeting, different community leaders from Gulfport, Ocean Springs, Pascagoula, all coming together. So it really is something different than I think anybody else is doing on the Gulf Coast.
It is.
And from the business side of it, people that run large companies can look out and see what the Baco Foundation does, all the other nonprofits that we seed. And all the scholarships that we do every year, and what a better way for your company to give back. And people see that, and
Right.
you know that's what you want, that the public interest side of it.
I've had people message me, "What is there anything BACO doesn't do? What do you guys not do? Because we do so much. It's not just scholarships, but all the other nonprofits on the coast that we help.
Right.
It really is amazing. I mean, you thinking of this 20 years ago,
I remember when probably one of the best, compliments I ever got. I think they were talking to Kay Kell, who was a city manager of Pascagoula years ago, and she was asking about M&M Bank, and she says, "My Lord, they're everywhere between this and this Backett thing," mispronouncing BACO. And it was. We were out in the community, but it was that foundation arm that was out in the community while the bank was doing what they did. I mean, it was just a platform that allowed the foundation. It really, looking back on my career, it is almost sort of like a unique idea.
Yeah.
Chevron's taken advantage of it by having somebody like Trudy assigned to the chamber. That's her job, is to build the community through the chamber. We're just doing it with the nonprofit sector, and it may be a focus one year. Next year we move it to something else. So it doesn't have to be in stone, and we don't have an operation to sustain. We're there to help the nonprofit or wherever the need is, and that's sort of exciting too. You never know. Every time you answer the phone, could be the thing that changes it. And so if you know our number, if not, call us up 228-217-5791, and got any 7 or 8 figure checks you want to write?
we'll take them.
I'll make sure I'm wherever you want me to be.
But I think it's so unique because people want to get involved. People see what we're doing on social media, on the news, when we're out in the community. When I was working at the YMCA, and Joey, of course, has been on the board and involved for I don't know how many years, I would see her at all these events and doing all this awesome, just wonderful things in the community with all these other nonprofits. And I wanted to know what she was involved with. What is that Backett Foundation? Because I didn't know how to say it, BACO. And really, her getting me involved with the foundation, I mean, I'm so grateful for this opportunity. We not only help so many people on the Gulf Coast, but it's just been such a good tool for my profession and my career. So I think it's just a wonderful.
Well, in a lot of ways, both y'all, you as chairman of the board and, you coming on, you see all the events that we go to. And when you go to an event, you learn a little bit more about your Gulf Coast region. And you do this for a couple of years like we have. I mean, you're starting to see it all. Right.
And just to watch Joey and George in action is an inspiration to anybody that's ever been around them. It's amazing, the energy they bring and the things that they do for us.
Yeah, they really are a tremendous asset for this whole Gulf Coast. And I don't think get enough credit, for what they do. And they're supposed to be in retirement, I think, a little bit.
Supposed to a little bit. I think it's like a 5-year plan or so. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. I don't know if they can stop.
Well, we're blessed to have them. We're blessed to have a lot of people, like you said, on our board. Butch is, I was just totaling up, and he wants you to, we figured out the other day he's given over $100,000 this past year.
Amazing.
Back into the community. I mean, that is, and that's just through us.
Right. It's a model for other people to follow.
Right.
And even a legacy like that.
We need more people like him.
Yeah, they broke that mold with him.
That's a fact.
And there are people out there. And there's, like you said, there's a lot of people on our board that you may not know. Kevin Miller is a machine. I mean,
him and Joe are on a whole nother level.
They're both the finest human beings you'll ever meet.
Oh my gosh, that golf tournament, goodness.
Yeah.
I've never seen men work as hard.
And they go out there and they raise money, they work their tails off, and you never hear anything except, just quietly going about their business. And Rich, same thing. I can tell you the same people are going to be.
Can always depend on those key players. Is there anything else? We have about a minute left, gentlemen. Anything else y'all would like?
Thank y'all for letting me be part of it. It's been one of the best things I've ever done. Thank you.
Well, appreciate all you bring to the table, to me personally. And, I know Amanda would tell you the same thing.
Oh, I
would.
would.
Amanda, you've been a blessing. There's just a love fest.
We just need to get up and hug. Well, it really is. I mean, we're co-workers.
We are
family.
We're
like family. And we mean that.
Right.
We get on each other's nerves. We get mad at each other, but in the end, we love each other.
When the chips are down, we're there.
In hard times, we come together, and we both know that right now.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Spotlight Gulf Coast. We're honored to have Phillip Pogue and Todd Trenchard as our guests today. Tune in next week for another episode of Spotlight Gulf Coast. Take care.